So this is a video response to the YouTube user, and I do apologize if I mispronounce this, ScouseCaspaXS. That's how I think I heard Leland Way pronouncing it in one of his videos, so I'm going to assume that's correct because he seems to be a pretty intelligent individual. But whatever the case, ScouseCaspaXS's video was actually originally posted in response to another caricature called Sister Sunshine. And aside from having a name which is also very difficult to pronounce, at least quickly, Sister Sunshine has deleted her account since the dialogue began. And that means that I do not have access to the content which was originally called into question. But what I gather from ScouseCaspaXS's upload is that Sister Sunshine was essentially arguing that abortion is such an extremely dangerous operation that it should be banned in all circumstances. And ScouseCaspaXS, I think that the best response to this would have simply been to point out that the argument actually rests upon a verifiably false premise, because abortion isn't dangerous, and you verify this untrue statement. You suggest that it is dangerous by saying that anybody who says that it's safe or simple is ignorant and doesn't know what they're talking about. And I find that quite peculiar coming from you in this video, because in the information bar, one of the sources that you cite is the Alan Guttmacher Institute, and the Alan Guttmacher Institute is well known to be the sort of semi-official research division of Planned Parenthood. And if you go to the Planned Parenthood website and type in the word abortion into their search bar, what you'll find is that one of the main sticking points in all of their articles or addresses revolving around abortion is that it is the safe, simple, and legal way to terminate a pregnancy. And I'll prove this with a screenshot, but you don't have to take my word for it. You can go there and check it out for yourself because it's very easily accessed. They repeatedly state that abortion is quite safe and quite simple. And you know what? They are completely correct. Abortion has not been a dangerous operation since penicillin became widely available to the general public in around about 1945. Now, the idea that it is extremely dangerous actually comes from a study conducted by a guy named Christopher Tizzi back in the 1930s. And this was when abortion was, yes, illegal here in the United States, but also in extra high demand because we were in the blunt end of the Great Depression. We didn't have access to contraceptives. Those weren't legalized until Griswold versus Connecticut, which hit the Supreme Court in, I think, the 1960s. That's actually the case from which we derived the reasoning used in Roe v. Wade, which legalized abortion here in the United States. Pushing that aside for a moment, if you look at the statistics, what you'll find is that in 1972, the year before Roe v. Wade legalized abortion, there were 88 abortion-related deaths here in the United States, and that only 39% of them were the result of illegal abortions, which means that more than half of them were the result of legal abortions, despite the fact that only a handful of states were offering abortions outside of circumstances in which the mother's life was at threat by the pregnancy. So most of the states blocked abortion in almost all circumstances, and yet more people were dying from legal abortions than illegal abortions. Now, does this mean that legal abortions are actually more dangerous than illegal ones? No, it doesn't mean that at all. It just means that illegal abortions weren't happening as frequently as people tend to think, and that they weren't anywhere near as dangerous as people like to suggest. And in fact, if you look at these same statistics, which of course are derived from the CDC, and I'll have all of these citations and stuff in the information bar, what you'll find is that following Roe v. Wade, there was actually an influx of abortion-related deaths because there was a temporary boost in the overall number of abortions. Mary Calderon, who was at the time a director of Planned Parenthood, wrote in 1960 that 90% of illegal abortions are presently being done by physicians. Call them what you will, abortionists or anything else, they are still physicians trained as such, and many of them are in good standing with their communities. They must be doing a good job if the death rate is as low as it is. Abortion, whether therapeutic or illegal, is in the main no longer dangerous. So you see, this myth based on Keats's archaic study is just not true. Illegal abortions were not happening as frequently or in as unsanitary conditions as people popularly think. Abortion is, legal or illegal, a very safe operation. So in summation, I'm not trying to undermine the heinous tragedy or the horrible loss of women who have been victimized by back alley butcher abortion shops, because again, before we had penicillin, in the heat of the Great Depression, and before there was easy access to effective contraceptives, and when women were using now antiquated medical technology, yes, thousands and thousands of them were dying in botched abortion attempts on an annual basis, and this is a horrible truth. But I also want to stress that contrary to popular belief, legalizing abortion has not made it any more safe.